Hi everyone and welcome back to the channel. Today is the stage 3 of the Zwift Games 2024. It's the epic route. This is the longer route in the Zwift Games. Glad to be a Cat C for today. The Cat A's and Cat B's have to do an 81 kilometer ride with the Zwift Games 2024 epic route. And for the Cat C and D's, we get to do what's called the Three Little Sisters, which is one lap of 37.7 kilometers with 2 power-ups that are given during the route. We have 3 small hills. We start off with the epic KOM, then we go into the Titans Grove, start with the Zwift KOM, then we go Titans Grove and then Volcano, and then back to the finish down to where we are starting, so start and finish in the same place. So I was hoping that this one would start off a little bit easier than usual, considering we go straight up the Zwift KOM off the start. As you can see, that's not necessarily the case. There are people that are flying off the start, even though we're riding nearly 40 kilometers. But we managed to keep it reasonably under control for the first part, sitting 75th. Hoping that there's no big group breakaway over the Zwift KOM, and really hoping that the same doesn't happen over Titans as well. And then we can manage the pace after that. So we're out the gun, and it really is a hard pace, much harder than what I was expecting here, but I'm just trying to sit in and make sure that I'm not putting in too much effort right off the start, burning too many matches before we go over the Zwift KOM. Even up the Zwift KOM and up Titans, trying to conserve a bit of energy, not go too hard, knowing that we still have the Volcano at the end, and then the downhill into the finish, which is going to be, hopefully, competitive at the front. But that means trying to make sure that no groups go away. So you're still sitting 80th roughly here, trying to just go nice and steady, control the heart rate, easier said than done, I'm sure, as they say. And we'll see where we get to when we get to the top of this one. did have, after we came over the Zwift KOM, we had a few guys that had gone off the front, but it was only 2 or 3, and the group that you now see us in managed to reel those guys back in. So this is the front group of the race again, and we're just coming round and just going through the banner to start Titans Grove KOM. This is a 2.6 kilometre hill, only a 2.2% gradient. It just means the pace gets pushed along. You can see some people are using their feather early in the lower section of it. My preference was to use it a little bit later on. I did think that over the top of Titans Grove I was going to get a second feather that I could then use on Volcano, but that wasn't actually the case. There was one through the sprint banner halfway between Titans Grove and Volcano, but that was not a feather, sorry, that was a draft boost through there, which we kept a hold of until the sprint finish, which we will come to in a while. So as we keep going up, Titans, again, as I said before, trying to keep this under control, knowing we still had Volcano to come. We're not quite through halfway, we're 13 kilometres in at this point, still 24 kilometres to go. So not wanting to do too much work, staying in the pack and seeing how everything pans out when we get up to the top of Titans Grove. So we made it over the top of Titans Grove, sitting 26, so still top 30. The group seems to come back together on the way down from Titans Grove on the descent. So we're still sitting nearly 30 people in the front group, which is a good number. Keep the pace high for the Titans Grove rollers that we go through on the way down, and then loop round back through the start finish where we pick up the draft boost, and then on to round 2 Volcano KOM. And the pace stays pretty steady all the way through this section, so we'll do another quick fast forward through the next part, and then we'll pick it up again on the Volcano KOM. here we go, just through the banner for the start of the Volcano KOM. We have that draft boost that we picked up through the start finish as we rolled through there. And it really felt like I was really struggling up this Volcano KOM at the time. Really felt like I was putting down big numbers at the start. It only ever reaches 5-6% at different points, and eases off as well. I don't normally have too much of an issue with Volcano KOM, but maybe the other two hills before it were sitting in the legs a bit. But the group of 26, I think, are still together here, start to split a bit up this climb. And some people still keeping their feather, as you can see, but using the feather now means they didn't get the draft boost, so this will be their last power up. That might have been tactical, or might have been a mistake. Maybe they thought they were only going to get the feather, so they wanted to power up in the race. And now they're finished with that, and we keep at a good pace. We're sitting 3.5 to 4 watts per kilo. Going up here, as you can see, I start to just drop off the pack, and in the last 2 or 3 years, a couple that have dropped right off the back. I'm still thereabouts, but I was struggling to maintain that heart rate. So up nearly at 170. This is just the first part of the climb, so I was really worried slightly on whether I was going to get dropped from this group and not be able to contest the sprint at the front. Managed to close this gap up again. Heart rate is still high, but we know that this is the last climb of the day, so we can put all of our eggs into this basket and then recover on the downhill section after the KOM. Up Volcano KOM, there are 2 or 3 areas where you get a bit of respite, slight downhill sections, slightly negative gradient sections to then lead into the next part and take a bit of momentum into there. So we do what we can there to try and maintain the speeds. There are a few guys going off the front and now really in a bit of pain, trying to just hang on to the back of the group, which I wasn't expecting. I was expecting to be a bit stronger up this final KOM and really be able to push the pace. I felt the pace was high from others and wasn't able to manipulate that pace at the front of the race and really push it on. So there are 2 or 3 people off the front of this group, and they're driving the bus, and everybody else is hanging on, particularly me, definitely just hanging on in there. Again, a little bit of flat in here, chance to take a breather. The group seems to come together a little bit again during this point. People are using that draft boost to help them get a little bit of a breather through this flat area while we're doing a little bit higher speed. Not too bad a tactic, particularly if you're not thinking you'll contest the sprint in just 10 kilometers time. But I'll hold on to mine. Managed to get back in. 2 guys off the front, 3 guys off the front in fact. We plan to not allow that to happen. I'm sure even if they had stayed out front when we come to the downhill section as a group, it's the draft effect that you get as a group, be able to reel anybody in. So going off the front on these climbs, unless you're going off in a group of 5 or 6 that you know are going to work together over the top, it seems a little bit futile for me. So we're continuing up this climb, managed to get back on the group. Actually came better as we got into the second half of this climb and started to feel a bit stronger. Heart rate was still working very, very hard up the climb, as you can see. I felt stronger. Maybe it was psychological, knowing that we were getting further and further up the climb and there was less and less climbing to do, and we were going to get into the final part of this race. So sitting in one guy's starts, he just sweep off the front. He is wearing exactly the same kit as me, apart from the helmet, which is confusing. Another one next to me wearing the same kit. I'm going to change this kit. Can't have too many people wearing the same as me. I'll change back to the kit I had before, I think. And yeah, people, another little bit of respite here. We're going to have a slight negative gradient. We need to keep the speed going so we can take that into the next part of the hill. Beautiful views down over the climb portal. Didn't spend much time looking at that while I was racing. I can do that while I'm watching a replay. And yeah, feeling strong in the group now. Heart rate's high, but we know we're closer to the top of the KOM. And when we get to the top of the KOM, we've got a big downhill section to come, which leads us in towards the finish line. it's up again with 2k to go, and there are two guys that have gone off the front, and I do think, I'm sure it's three actually, but I think I missed a bit of a trick on this, because I didn't really look at the finish, and from here it's either completely flat or downhill finish, and I believe two of these three guys stay away and get first and second place in the stage. So we've come down off the volcano KOM descent, back through the volcano. I'm going back over the bridge now to then route down towards the finish line. And the pace in the group is okay, but we've just let those three guys shoot off the front, and they've got a reasonable gap. Now we're 1.3k to go, and still got my draft boost. The plan is to use that reasonably late, sit a little bit further back in the group, and come through taking the draft off everybody as we pass them, and finishing as high as possible. I know we're just a k to go now. Round the corner, turning left, down the false flat, and then into the finish banner. So everybody's starting to get a little bit edgy now. A few increases of pace. Guys going off the front thins out the pace line a little bit. And as you can see, people are starting to shoot off, put a bit of effort in, get their positioning right. This is where I wanted to be. I wanted to be a little bit further back and try and use that draft boost to push through the group and to come to the finish. So you can see the front three guys are all still out there. I didn't really notice this as I was doing it, so it's actually quite good to see a replay. So you can see the two in particular are gone. Third place, I think we get much closer to. So the rest of us are now just fighting out for fourth, fifth and sixth. So the decent sprint on, ran out of gas a little bit for the last 5 seconds, and I think that was the guy that was in third place that we just passed. So running out of gas and lost probably one, if not two places that I would have liked to get. But absolutely happy with finishing in 6th place for this race. Getting under the hour, which was one of the main aims. I'd looked at some of the other races that had been Cat C races that had been before, and they were finishing in just over an hour. Thank you for watching. Please, if you enjoyed this, hit the like button, subscribe if you want to see more. Any comments you have would be great. I'll reply to all the comments, and see you for stage 4, which is back to a sprint stage in Glasgow Grit Circuit.